If you cannot master your emotions will master you. That truth has broken kings, toppled empires, destroyed families, and stolen countless lives. Anger has turned brothers into enemies. Fear has chained warriors from stepping into destiny. Doubt has blinded the eyes of men who once dreamed of greatness. The storm is not out there. The storm is in here, inside you, inside me, inside every soul that breathes. Emotions are like wild horses. Left untrained, they will throw you to the ground and trample your dreams. But if you learn to ride, if you learn to guide, they will carry you further than your legs could ever go. The horse itself is not the enemy. The lack of mastery is. Marcus Aurelius understood this. As emperor of Rome, he commanded legions, ruled an empire, yet he wrote in his journal not about conquering lands, but about conquering himself. He reminded himself each day, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Strength outside means nothing if the storm within is out of control. Now ask yourself, when the storm rises inside you, do you lead it or does it lead you? Pause here and think. How many regrets in your life were born not from thought, but from reaction? A word spoken in anger, a decision made in fear, a chance lost because of doubt. Those are not accidents. They are the price of a storm left unmastered. History is full of warnings. Alexander the Great conquered nations, but one night in a rage he killed his closest friend. Victory outside, defeat inside. His empire stretched across the world, yet he was a slave to a single emotion. And that one moment of anger became a scar history never forgot. Emotions are forces of nature. You cannot stop the wind from blowing, but you can raise your sails. You cannot stop the storm, but you can learn to navigate it. Fear, anger, sadness, joy, each is energy. If you use it, it carries you forward. If you ignore it, it will wreck you. Science proves what the ancients already knew. Neuroscience tells us that when you name an emotion, when you pause and label it, the storm calms. The amygdala, the brain's alarm bell, begins to quiet. Clarity returns. The act is simple. Pause, breathe. Say to yourself, this is anger. This is fear. This is doubt. You are no longer inside the storm. You are the captain on deck, guiding through it. So let me ask you, the next time anger rises, will you be its prisoner or will you step back and take the reins? This is the first discipline of inner power, awareness. Without it, you are blind. With it, you begin to see. With it, you begin to lead. But awareness is not the end. Awareness is the door. Beyond it lies mastery. And mastery requires more than noticing. It requires training. It requires daily practice. Just as a rider does not tame a horse in a day, you will not master your emotions in a single moment. But if you commit, if you train, then even the wildest storms inside you can become winds that push you toward destiny. Pause again. Reflect. What storm inside you needs taming today? Is it anger, rising without control? Is it fear, whispering that you are not enough? Is it doubt, holding you back from action? Name it, face it. Because the first step to mastery is never to run, but to look directly at the storm and declare, I will lead. If you cannot master your emotions will master you. That is not a threat. That is a law. And every man, every woman must decide which side of that law they will stand on. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are your energy. Anger is fire. Fire can burn your house to the ground, or it can forge the steel of your soul. Fear is the voice of caution. It can chain you, or it can sharpen you to prepare. Sadness is weight. It can drown you, or it can carve depth into your heart, teaching compassion. Even joy, if left undisciplined, can lead to recklessness. Each emotion is a horse. Each one is power. But only if you ride it. The mistake most people make is to suppress, to bury, to pretend they feel nothing. But what you bury grows stronger in the dark. Suppression is not mastery. Mastery is awareness, acceptance, and direction. Consider Nelson Mandela. He was imprisoned for 27 years. His body was chained, but he never let anger chain his spirit. He did not leave prison filled with revenge. He left with vision. He left with peace. He turned the fire of anger into the energy of forgiveness, and that energy rebuilt a nation. That is not weakness. That is mastery. Now ask yourself, if Mandela could master anger in a cell, what excuse do you have in the freedom of your daily life? The Navy SEALs are trained for chaos. Bullets fly, explosions roar, fear is everywhere. But panic is death. So they train not to avoid fear, but to breathe through it. They teach the body to obey, the mind to focus, the spirit to stay calm. Fear remains, but it is no longer the master. It becomes the trigger for preparation. Pause and imagine. If you could turn fear into focus, anger into energy, sadness into depth, what would your life look like? What would you dare to attempt? Practical mastery begins here. The next time emotion rises, do not run. Pause. Breathe deep for 90 seconds. Label it. This is anger. This is fear. This is doubt. Then ask, how can I use this? What is this energy for? That 90 seconds is the difference between regret and wisdom, between destruction and creation, between slavery and freedom. The ancients practiced journaling to process emotions. The Buddhists practiced meditation to observe feelings without attachment. Modern science calls it mindfulness. Different names, same truth. Awareness first, direction second. So let me ask you again, what practice do you have today that teaches your emotions to obey? If you have none, then your storm will own you. If you build one, then you will ride the wild horse to power. Stay with me here. Do not drift. Because this is where people fall back. They say, emotions are too strong, too wild, too overwhelming. But so is a horse, until you train it. So is a storm, until you learn to sail it. The truth is simple. Emotions are energy. Master them, and you master life. Neglect them, and you become their slave. Your emotions are not your enemy. They are your energy. And the day you take the reins is the day your life begins to turn. A single moment of uncontrolled emotion can destroy what took years to build. History does not remember the calm days of great men. It remembers the storms that broke them. Alexander the Great conquered nations, but one night of rage ended in the death of his closest friend. That wound never healed. Not for him, not for the empire he left behind. What use is conquest outside if you are defeated within? Emotions are powerful, but raw power without command is destruction. Anger is a fire. Left wild, it burns everything in its path. Fear is a shadow. If you let it spread, it blinds every step forward. Doubt is a whisper. If you listen long enough, it will silence your destiny. Now pause and look at your own life. How many words have you spoken in anger that you wish you could take back? How many decisions have you made in fear that still chain you? How many opportunities have you lost because doubt convinced you to stay silent? Regret is the tax you pay when you let emotion lead. Science confirms what history shows. The amygdala, the brain's alarm system, hijacks your clarity in seconds. When anger surges or fear spikes, blood flow shifts and reason shuts down. That is why people say and do things they never meant. That is why calm reflection always comes too late. You cannot undo a storm once it has torn through. The only answer is to master it before it erupts. Think of careers lost in a single outburst, leaders undone by a single emotional mistake, families broken by words spoken in fire. The damage of uncontrolled emotion is not just personal, it spreads. Like a storm, it pulls in everyone around you. So let me ask you this. Who has paid the price for your unmastered storms? You or the people you love. Do not think suppression is the answer. Burying emotion does not kill it. It only makes it grow stronger in the dark. Suppressed anger turns into bitterness. Suppressed fear turns into paralysis. Suppressed sadness turns into despair. Mastery is not suppression. Mastery is awareness, direction, transformation. Stay with me here, because this is where the lesson cuts deep. If you cannot command your emotions, you will lose battles you did not even know you were fighting. You will sabotage your own relationships, your own opportunities, your own destiny, not because you were not smart, not because you were not capable, but because you were not disciplined. Uncontrolled emotion has one outcome: regret. So I ask you again, are you the rider holding the reins, or the man being dragged through the dirt by a wild horse you never chose to train? The first step to mastery is awareness. You cannot master what you cannot see. Most people do not control their emotions because they do not even notice them rising. Anger builds, fear whispers, doubt creeps in, and they only realize it after the damage is done. Awareness is the moment you catch the storm before it breaks. Neuroscience proves it. Studies show that naming an emotion reduces its grip. When you say, "This is anger, this is fear, this is doubt," your brain shifts from reaction to observation. The storm is still there, but you are no longer inside it. You are on the deck, steering the ship. The Stoics practiced this daily. Journaling each night, they wrote down their emotions, dissected them, examined them. Marcus Aurelius filled his meditations with reminders to himself, not to let rage or grief own him. He knew awareness was the shield that protected his mind from being hijacked. Modern science calls it mindfulness. Buddhists call it meditation. Navy SEALs call it tactical breathing. Different names, same principle. Awareness is the act of noticing without surrendering. So here is your practice. The next time you feel the fire rising, pause. Do not react. Breathe deeply for 90 seconds. Name it. This is anger, this is fear, this is sadness. Do not judge it. Do not suppress it. Simply notice. In that pause, you regain command. 90 seconds may sound small, but it can save you years of regret. Pause with me now and imagine, how different would your life look if you had paused 90 seconds before every bad decision? How many regrets would vanish? How many scars would never have been written? Awareness is not weakness. It is power. It does not mean you do not feel. It means you feel fully, but choose wisely. The man who notices his anger but does not let it control his words is stronger than the man who can lift mountains, because he controls the storm inside. Ask yourself this. What emotion hijacks you most often? Is it anger? Is it fear? Is it doubt? And what would your life look like if, starting today, you caught it before it took the reins? Stay with me here, because this is the turning point. The undisciplined will dismiss this as small, but the disciplined know that mastery is built in small acts repeated daily. Awareness is the first brick. Without it, the house of discipline cannot stand. With it, you begin to build the fortress of inner power. Your emotions are horses. Awareness is taking hold of the reins. Without that, you will always be dragged. With it, you begin to ride. Emotions are not chains. They are engines. The question is whether you drive them or they drive you. Fear has paralyzed millions. Yet fear is also the sharpest teacher. It warns you of danger. It tells you to prepare. Anger has destroyed nations, yet anger is also fuel. It can be turned into fire that pushes you to act with courage when silence would mean surrender. Sadness can drown a man in despair. Yet sadness also carves depth, shaping compassion and wisdom that joy alone could never teach. A sailor cannot choose the wind, but he can raise his sails. If the wind is ignored, it wrecks him. If he sets his sails, that same wind carries him across the sea. So it is with your emotions. You cannot stop them from rising, but you can guide them. Pause here and reflect. What would your life look like if fear sharpened you instead of chaining you? If anger became courage instead of chaos? if sadness deepened your soul instead of drowning it. The Stoics knew this secret. They never denied their emotions. They trained themselves to notice them, to question them, to use them. Epictetus said, "It is not events that disturb us, but the views we take of them." In other words, it is not the storm that wrecks you, but how you steer through it. Think of athletes before the arena. Fear surges in their chest, doubt whispers in their mind. But they use it. That energy becomes focus, sharpened nerves, heightened strength. Fear does not chain them. It prepares them. Or think of Martin Luther King Jr. He did not let anger against injustice consume him into violence. He turned it into disciplined passion, into words that shook nations, into marches that broke chains. His anger was real, but it was guided. It was fuel, not fire. Science also agrees. Studies show that reframing emotions changes performance. Students told their anxiety before a test was energy scored higher than those told to calm down. The same pounding heart, the same racing pulse, but a different story. Fear, reframed as energy, became power. So here is your practice. The next time fear rises, do not say, "I am scared." Say, "I am ready." The next time anger burns, do not say, "I am losing control." Say, "I have energy to direct." The emotion does not vanish. It transforms. Stay with me here. Do not drift. Because most people waste their lives fighting emotions, trying to bury them, trying to silence them. But the truth is simple. You do not bury fire. You forge with it. You do not deny wind. You set your sails. You do not reject emotion. You ride it. So I ask you again, what storm inside you could become your greatest ally if only you learn to guide it? Sometimes truth is best seen in the lives of those who lived it. Nelson Mandela was imprisoned for 27 years. The world expected a man broken, filled with rage. But when he walked free, he carried not revenge but vision. He chose not to let bitterness rule him. His anger became strength. His sorrow became wisdom. His discipline turned chains into freedom. That is mastery. The Navy SEALs know this in blood. In combat, fear is everywhere. Panic is death. So they train themselves to breathe, to slow the heart, to steady the mind. They do not pretend fear does not exist. They transform it into focus. That discipline saves lives. Think also of the monks in silence. They do not run from their emotions. They sit with them. They face them. They watch anger rise and fall like waves. They watch sadness come and go like clouds. In doing so, they prove that emotions are not rulers. They are weather. The storm passes, and the sky remains. Pause now and imagine. If you practice this mastery for a single year, what would change? If you faced fear instead of running, if you directed anger instead of exploding, if you embraced sadness instead of drowning, what would your life become? There is also the modern story of leaders who failed, a CEO screaming at his team until they walked out, a politician destroyed by a single emotional outburst caught on camera, a parent who shattered their child's spirit with words spoken in rage. These stories remind us that mastery is not luxury, it is survival. Without it, even the greatest are undone. Ask yourself, who in your life has been hurt because you did not master your storms? And who could be healed if you began today? Science shows us that emotional intelligence is more powerful than IQ in predicting success. The ability to stay calm, to read your own state, to manage reactions, to lead under pressure. These are the true marks of greatness. You cannot buy this skill. You must train it. Here is a practice to begin. When you feel emotion rising, ask 3 questions. What am I feeling? Why am I feeling it? How can I use it? This simple discipline turns chaos into clarity. Stay with me here, because this is where the shift becomes real. Once you see emotions not as enemies but as tools, you stop fearing them. You begin to welcome them. You begin to say, "Fear, Thank you for preparing me. Anger, thank you for giving me fire. Sadness, thank you for teaching me compassion. And when you reach that level, nothing outside can shake you. You are no longer at the mercy of storms. You are the captain who sails them. So I ask you this, will you let your emotions continue to sabotage your life? Or will you train them, master them, and through them master yourself? The greatest battles you will ever fight are not out there. They are in here. Wars of armies are loud, but the wars inside the human heart are louder still. You may defeat enemies outside, but if doubt defeats you, you are lost. You may win fortune and fame, but if fears still chains you, you are not free. You may silence the world with your strength, but if anger still burns unchecked inside you, you are already destroyed. Every day you step onto this battlefield, fear stands on one side, courage on the other, doubt whispers from the shadows, discipline answers with fire. Anger roars like a beast, while patience waits steady and calm. These forces live inside you, clashing for command. The question is never whether the battle exists. The question is always, who is winning? Pause here and reflect. Who is winning inside you right now? Fear or courage? Anger or patience? Doubt or discipline? Marcus Aurelius knew this. He wrote that a man is conquered not by events, but by his own surrender. He faced betrayal, loss, and death daily, yet his calm was his shield. His throne did not make him powerful. His mastery of inner storms did. Look also at the story of athletes who crumble under pressure. Their bodies trained, their skills perfected, but one crack in emotion shatters everything. Meanwhile, others rise higher in chaos, because their inner discipline is stronger than any outer force. That is the battlefield. That is where destiny is won or lost. Science echoes the same truth. Stress triggers the fight or flight system, flooding the body with hormones. But those trained to breathe, to pause, to focus, can redirect that surge into power. The same storm that drowns one man becomes the wave that carries another to victory. Stay with me here, because this is where many turn away. They think the battle inside is too hard, too endless, too exhausting. But understand this, the battle never ends. You cannot escape it. The only choice is whether you train for it or surrender to it. So I ask you one more time. When you wake tomorrow and step back onto the battlefield, will you lead your emotions or will they lead you? At the end of all discipline lies freedom. The man who is ruled by anger is a prisoner. The man who is ruled by fear is in chains. The man who is ruled by doubt is blind. But the man who rules his emotions, he is untouchable. He walks through storms yet remains calm. He faces loss yet remains steady. He feels fully yet chooses wisely. That is freedom. That is mastery. Freedom is not the absence of emotion. It is the presence of command. To feel fear but still act with courage. To feel anger but still answer with wisdom. To feel sadness but still move with strength. To feel joy but not lose discipline. Pause and imagine this. Imagine yourself 1 year from today, after training your emotions daily. Fear still visits, but you welcome it as a teacher. Anger still rises, but you channel it into energy. Sadness still comes, but it gives you compassion. You are no longer at the mercy of storms. You are the captain. You lead the wind. This is not fantasy. This is reality. For those who choose discipline. Mandela chose it. Monks chose it. Warriors chose it. And you can choose it too. The practices are not hidden. They are simple. Breathe deeply when storms rise. Name the emotion before it owns you. Journal your reflections. Train your body, for the body trains the mind. Small disciplines, repeated daily, build unbreakable mastery. Now ask yourself, what would you dare to attempt if you had full command of your emotions? What dreams have you delayed because fear ruled you? What relationships have you damaged because anger ruled you? What purpose have you abandoned because doubt ruled you? and what life waits for you once you decide to lead. Stay with me here, because this is the truth you must not forget. Mastery of emotions is not luxury. It is survival. It is the foundation of greatness. It is the difference between being a slave to storms and being the master of destiny. So I ask you now, will you let your emotions continue to chain you, or will you rise, take the reins, and lead the storm? Master your emotions, and you master yourself. Master yourself, and you master your destiny. If you cannot master your emotions will master you. That truth is not philosophy, it is law. Anger will burn what you love. Fear will chain what you dream. Doubt will silence what you were born to speak. But when you train the storm within, everything changes. Anger becomes energy. Fear becomes focus. Sadness becomes depth. Joy becomes gratitude. You are no longer a prisoner of emotions. You are their master, their rider, their leader. And when you master your emotions, you master yourself. Pause and reflect on this. The storms outside may rage, but if the storms inside are calm, nothing can shake you. That is the freedom discipline gives. That is the freedom you have been searching for all along. So I leave you with one question. Tomorrow, when emotion rises, will you be the slave who reacts or the master who leads? This chapter of the Discipline Code ends here, but the journey continues, because mastery of emotions is not the final step. There is more. Next, we will enter the discipline that decides every action, every destiny, every life. The discipline of choice. Stay with me. Subscribe so you do not miss the next step. The storm within has been trained. Now it is time to learn how to command the path ahead.